Syria is a severely war-torn country in far Western Asia. It borders the Mediterranean Sea and Lebanon to the west, Israel to the southwest, Jordan to the south, Iraq to the east, and Turkey to the north. Before civil war broke out here in 2011, Syria had a diverse population of around 17 million, mostly Arabic-speaking people. During pre-war times, its main exports included oil and petroleum products, fruits, grains, cotton, and clothing. But by late 2016, its economy had become so badly war-damaged that it was barely functioning. Historically, around 3/4 of the population of Syria has consisted of Sunni Muslim Arabs and Kurds, with Arabs being by far the largest ethnic group. Syria has always had significant Shia and Christian minorities too, as well as a small number of followers of the Druze religion. Syria's largest city, Aleppo, seen here, was severely damaged in the civil war. Syria's second largest city and capital is Damascus, and it's home to the country's dictatorial president, Bashar al-Assad, too. The Syrian Civil War began when protests that called for President Assad to be removed from office were violently repressed by him. Since 2011, the war has evolved into a complex struggle for power involving several distinct internal factions, as well as several foreign governments, including Russia, Turkey, Iran, and the USA. Toward the end of 2016, 4.8 million Syrians had fled to nearby countries. 6.6 million had been internally displaced. About 1 million had requested political asylum in Europe, and over 400,000 had died. And in the midst of its civil war, the violent fundamentalist Sunni jihadist group known as ISIS laid claim to a substantial portion of Syrian territory as well. Much of Syria was at one time a province of the great Roman Empire, and the magnificent city of Palmyra, seen here, is home to some of the best examples of the country's ancient architecture. But the terrorist ISIS group dynamited its buildings and conducted mass executions here before they were driven out by Syrian government forces. In terms of climate, along its Mediterranean coast, Syria has hot, dry summers and cool, wet winters. But inland, a continental pattern dominates a climate that is drier year-round and is much hotter in the summers. Geographically, in northwestern Syria, a flat coastal plain and low-elevation mountain range run parallel to the Mediterranean Sea. Just east of the coastal range is the Al-Ghab Plain, which is actually a northern section of the Great Rift Valley that begins in southern Africa. The Euphrates River begins in the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon and flows northward into Syria, where it brings water to the towns and farms of the Al-Ghab Plain. Inland and further south, on the Syrian-Lebanese border, the anti-Lebanon mountains rise up to peaks of over 2,700 meters in elevation. The Golan Heights area of Syria, at the southern end of these mountains, has been occupied by Israel since the Six-Day War of 1967. Farther to the east, Syria's huge central plateau region is intersected by several chains of low mountains. The territory around Palmyra, seen here, is located in this plateau region. And to the south of here are the lands of the vast and treeless Syrian desert. The Euphrates River, which is Syria's longest and most important river, flows right through its center and accounts for more than 80% of the country's water resources. Lush farmlands extend out from the banks of the Euphrates in both directions. Another important river, the Tigris, seen here, runs between Syria and Turkey in the far northeast of the country.